90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Your home value is way up, and you can use that money right now. Pay off credit cards, remodel your house, both, whatever you want. Prosser here for Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto can convert that home equity into cash in as little as 2 weeks with no cost to you and zero hassle. Mike and Joan in Ponte Vedra called Loan Pronto. They did a Loan Pronto zero-cost cash-out refi. They got a check for $100,000, used $50 to pay off all their credit cards and a car loan, and used the other $50 to upgrade their master bath and kitchen. They locked in new APR in the twos and lowered their total monthly bills by hundreds of dollars. Hello? What are you waiting on? Call Loan Pronto now. Convert your home value into cash and put that money to good use. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Do you have a lift station at your business? Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services would love to be your maintenance provider. Give us a call for a quote today. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
For Mother's Day, call Zero Res. Hicken here. Till Mother's Day, get $50 off your tile and ground cleaning, or $50 off cleaning and sealing your granite countertops, or get both. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
This is your 1010XL local sports update brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. I'm ET. Congratulations to the Jacksonville Icemen as they advance to the second round of the playoffs after defeating the Greenville Swamp Rabbits 4-2. The Icemen had 23 shots on goal, while the Swamp Rabbits had 19. Up next for your Jacksonville Icemen, they'll play host to the Florida Everblades in the Battle of Florida at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena this Saturday. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Currently it's 10 o'clock and it's 68 degrees. Your time and your temp is brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller. Stay tuned for Jaguars Today next, right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Let me see who's on that. Let me see who's on that. Let me see who's on that. Let me see who's gonna be next. Be next. Don't be scared to fuck with me, baby.
You know what it is. To be from Jacksonville or to be, a Duvalian or whatever and not ride with the Jaguars, that's like you got a toilet in the house, but you poop in the backyard. It don't make sense. Winning cures everything in the NFL. It just cures everything.
Drops the throw. Looking, fires middle of the field, and that ball is picked off! It is picked off by Rayshawn Jenkins! He's running it back along the right sideline! That is going to be a touchdown! That is going to be a touchdown! The Jags are going to win it on a Rayshawn Jenkins pick six!
Oh, my God. Look at that. Show it again.
An all-out blitz. They hit him as he lets it go. The ball comes out. The ball comes out and is picked up. The Jags are running it back. The Jags are running it back. The Jags are going to run it into the end zone. Josh Allen scores a touchdown. Josh Allen is running back for a touchdown for Jacksonville.
I've said it many times. I'll say it again. It's like a great gravy. You could have an average piece of meat, and if you put amazing gravy on top of it, you'll eat every bite of it.
You have faith in yourself. You have faith in each other. You keep encouraging one another like we talk about all the time, and you believe. Belief is about understanding that you can get it done, right? And then it gets done, right? It just can't happen, and then you have belief, right? And that's what faith is about. And you guys have always, Jags.
Get ready, Henderson. Get ready. The slap finna happen. We been a slap, tap, whap, tap, 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 tap.
This boy got a hit.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E to the T.
All right, good morning, everybody. Jaguars Today kicking off a fresh one here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Probably need to get Holiday back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
A little post-draft, kind of update on how he's feeling. Slap that, pat, whap, whole thing. Throw a Henderson in there and whatever else you got, man.
Yeah.
Just kind of miss him. I think, he probably has some questions about the draft. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he thinks that, we got Trevor. It's built. We're good. Let's roll. And we should roll the AFC South this year. Tony, I mean, really, I was looking at it and thinking about this, and I know we've talked about this before, but this may be the best setup the Jags have to make a deep playoff run. Not that they couldn't, have a slightly worse setup and win the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, everything doesn't have to fall your way, but you look at the way this could potentially fall for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I heard XL Primetime talking about yesterday. There's a lot of the rumor that they're going to play 2 games in London. One will be a road game. Right? You get one of your prime opponents that you're going to have to play on the road, and it becomes more of a neutral site affair if you get them over there, right? You got the AFC South and the NFC South, which by any measure are ranked as the 2 worst divisions top to bottom in football right now. In fact, I was reading somebody's ranking of the divisions, and whoever was 6, the AFC South was 7, and they're like, there's a gulf between 6 and 7. And then, where do we tell you about the NFC South? Right? I mean, that's 10 of your games right there.
Yeah.
Against the 2 worst divisions in football. You got to fatten up this year. This can't be a year, we need to take another step. This needs to be a year it's there. It is right there. The Lombardi Trophy is staring you in the face. I don't think this is crazy, right? I mean, where's the hole on offense right now for this football team? Right? If Anton Harrison can come in and play competent football in the first month and a half of the season.
Sure.
You're 3 deep at tackle. Hopefully you get Barch back healthy. You had Shatley to get you by last year. You're going to have to stay healthy. Every NFL team can say that, right? You're excited about the quarterback. You've got a better top-to-bottom running back situation than you've had in a while, right, in terms of the entire depth chart. You had Calvin Ridley at the top of the wide receiver core. You have Evan Ingram back on the franchise tag. Let's presume at some point he wants to make some money this year and either plays on the tag or gets a deal done. I mean, you're loaded right now on offense.
Oh, absolutely. I think, look, last year at this time, looking at the obviously the schedule hadn't come out yet, but looking at the opponents for the team, they were like, how lucky are we that we get to play the NFC East, right? The division stinks.
True.
It's terrible. And then the season got started, and it's like, oh, maybe it's not as bad as we thought. And by the time we got to the end of it, the NFC East was really good. Last year, had 3 playoff teams come out of the division. I'm not saying that I expect that with the NFC South necessarily this year, but there is with as much as the NFC South is being poor-mouthed right now, there are good odds, I think, that they're better than people expect them
Probably
to
so.
be,
But
I
think if you went,
but I do think the window is open, given that the Jags get to play in this division and play that division that looks the way that it looks right now.
even if we took those teams last year objectively, that we looked at the NFC East and we questioned some of those things, if you just took the quarterbacks.
Sure.
Right? And now Jalen Hurts had not put on a near MVP type performance, but you could see that Jalen Hurts,
they were a playoff team.
Jalen Hurts is better than anybody, including Derek Carr, in the NFC South right now. Dak Prescott, I think you would have taken 2 at that point. Daniel Jones, you kind of, but he proved to play at a much higher level last year than we had been accustomed to. And then you had Washington, who was very competitive, but it wasn't because they had Carson Wentz. But at the time, you look at it like Carson Wentz, if you compare that to what you're looking at in the NFC South this year, Derek Carr and Desmond Ridder, maybe Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, or, we don't know for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then you got a rookie in Bryce Young, who could be very good one day. Will he be great right out of the gates? Let's get Carolina as early as possible.
No doubt. No doubt.
And fatten up on him.
Yeah, and look, I don't think that the NFC South's going to turn into the NFC East from last year. I
don't either.
That's not what I think. I think they're probably better than we give them credit for at this point, but that doesn't mean that I disagree with the premise, right? That the opportunity is there for the Jags. Right now, we're still months away from the season getting started, obviously, and my feelings on all of this can change as we go through the rest of this offseason, get into preseason, everything that could happen there as well through training camp. But right now, if you were to ask me, I would say I would be slightly disappointed right now if the Jags weren't at least the 2 seed in the AFC, right? Like, winning the division, I think, is the bottom of my expectations for the Jaguars this year, but I would be a little disappointed if they didn't wind up as the 2 seed in the AFC, given the division they get to play and playing the NFC South this year.
I guess I'd have to see how it plays out. I think so much of it is going to be how do you perform against Kansas City and Buffalo and Cincinnati and San Francisco in these head-to-head matchups against the elite teams in the National Football League. That's probably going to be where, kind of the devil's in the details there. But you're right. You can already be in a stronger position if you dominate those 2 South divisions, and you've got a chance, even if you go 1-3 in those games, to still maybe contend for the overall number 1 seed in the AFC. Chances are one of those teams has at least a 13-win season, right? That's just the nature of how good a quarterbacks that we're talking about on these Jaguar opponents. But I think we're rapidly approaching the point where hopefully around the National Football League, they'll realize that about Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence as well. Like, hey, you know what? As long as they got Trevor, 13-4 is always in the cards for that team, or at least potentially in the cards. So today, we will talk about what they can add to this team to make it better a little bit, but we'll also maybe look at some strengths of this football team as well, based on where things stand right now. Your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day this morning: if the Jacksonville Jaguars sign a veteran pass rusher this offseason, which one would you prefer? We put their ages in there as well. These are not the only guys who are out there, by the way. There are other names you would recognize in the veteran pass rush market. These just happen to be probably the 4 that we talk about more frequently. And listed alphabetically, Frank Clark is 30 years old. Had a lot of talk about him, a lot of texts and questions about Frank Clark. Leonard Floyd is also 30 years old. Leonard Floyd's been 9+ sacks the last 3 years. Justin Houston showed you he can do it off the bench last year, even at the age of 34. And, of course, Unique Ngakoue, I heard you talking about it with Dan and Jeff on Crosstalk, still hasn't stopped anybody in the run game.
Yeah.
But we know what his specialty is, and it's a specialty that's needed for this football team and that's pass rush. So if you want to vote on that, you can hop on my Twitter feed, at MD_1010XL. Of course, there's always at 1010XL, Fat Tony, and I am E2, the T.
Come on, somebody.
E.T., good morning.
What they do, my boy?
You tell me. What's up?
Oh, nothing, man. You know, I was featured in this thing with FSCJ, and they just hit me up, so I was just taking a look at that. Your boy going to be on the billboard, Mikey.
Oh, well, where is the billboard going to be?
Around
I see you every day. You know, you're in full living color right here. But
living color.
Where will we see this, and what is the premise of this advertisement?
They're doing a campaign for alumni for FSCJ since I graduated from there.
Look at this guy, okay?
Yeah.
You too could one day rise to the heights of Emmanuel Thalleran, potentially, if you have the talent and charisma.
Easy.
All right, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Well, I just said if you have the talent and charisma, which eliminated 99.9% of the audience right there. So good for you, E.T.
It'll be around the city of Jacksonville, just randomly.
Just around.
Yep.
You'll carry it around and move it around on different days, like Wednesdays it'll be here.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, excellent. You know what? We need to get you a mobile billboard. We need like some kind of flatbed truck that carries it around.
You know somebody?
I don't, but I've seen them. Somebody knows somebody out there. You know, we need to get ET, make sure everybody is fully appreciative of the journey and the story. Jacksonville's own, rising up in these mean streets. All right, today, if you want to be a part of it, 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Ryan Wilson over at CBS Sports has done us a favor of not only grading drafts, but putting them in perspective of top to bottom.
Yep.
1 through 32, just how every team did in the National Football League.
That's way better than a grade.
It kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Just a little relative to the other teams. How do you feel this team got value? So we'll dig into that as well. You know, one thing we don't really talk about on this show is arena football.
Mm-hmm.
We might today.
Oh.
However, we might today. So it's out there. It's got an NFL connection, an NFL tie-in. So we'll get to that story as well. So hit us up with your thoughts on the Twitter poll. We'll get to yesterday's as well. Put a bow on that. We had over 850 votes on pass rush versus coverage, and in terms of what you think is the more pressing need for this football team. Not that there can't be more than one pressing need at the same time. We just talked about how good that offense potentially looks, right? Top to bottom, just looking at the depth chart. Let's take a best-case scenario look at the defense and try to tell ourselves a happy tale, spin a story that we could see if we squint our eyes ever so gently how that defense could help the Jaguars make that deep playoff run. Not to mention, Tony, got to have one of the best special teams in the league with all these draft picks that we're investing in it, right?
No doubt, yeah.
Come on. All right, Tony Smith is here. E.T. is here. Dylan Denmark is lurking around these quarters right now. I'm Mike Dempsey. We hope you're a part of the program today, either on the phone lines, text line, or on social media, or just sit back and listen to the next hour and 45 minutes of Jaguar discussion. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's another Waste Management Wednesday in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV Hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
It's such a great time of year. I'm with Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Bike Week really kind of gets people thinking about what is the latest and greatest on-road, especially from Honda.
Absolutely. The new Honda Rebel lineup is fantastic. Anywhere from the 300 to 1100, the Gold Wing's always hot.
They're going to see guys going really fast down at Daytona, and then they can come to your showroom and check out what you've got.
The Supercross will kick it off. There's lots of festivities from Daytona, which will surely translate back to our dealership and back to our showroom.
Come check it out. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
If you're often tired, have trouble exercising, or your heartbeat feels irregular, you might have atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Left untreated, AFib can put a strain on your heart and increase your risk of a stroke. But the new Heart Rhythm Center at Baptist Health can help. With the latest treatment options for heart disorders like AFib, our team of specialists can get you feeling stronger again. Learn more at baptistjacks.com/AFib or call 904-202-2342.
If you want to get into broadcasting, 1010XL is partnering with the Broadcasters and Sportscasters Mentoring Group to offer on-air broadcast training to a select few. Find out how you can be mentored at getintobroadcasting.com. Getintobroadcasting.com.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we won it, we got to bring it. My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Heilman from the brand new Fourscore Golf Tavern. We do elevated food, drinks, and golf simulator fun. If you're looking for a delicious meal or maybe a spot for a client, we have lunch specials every day. Need to entertain a few people from out of town? Easy. Just reserve one of our 4 simulator bays. Lunch service starts at 11 a.m. daily. Located in San Marcos Square, we'll see you at lunch at Fourscore Golf Tavern.
Servicing every customer like they're famous. But what does that mean for you? It comes down to the famous philosophy. You'll find a consistency at all 20 locations in friendly service, honest pricing, and realistic time expectations. They know when you find someone you trust to maintain your vehicle, keep it running right, and lasting longer, you'll stick with them. And that's the famous philosophy at Famous Automotive in Quick Lube. Ask about a fleet account for your business.
David here with Royal Pest Services. That grass is waking up from its winter nap. Royal is close to applying products that help bring it out of that dormancy. Our granular aeration allows treatment to get to the root system. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate. It's grow time!
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jaguars fans and 1010XL.
It was a special year for the city, for everybody, and couldn't have done it without all you guys supporting us. So we're thankful for you guys. Those last 2 home games were games I'll never forget.
1010XL, home of Jaguars fans. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL. Now more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, glad you're along with us here on this Wednesday morning. Jaguars today post-draft. I found a tweet, I saw a tweet from our good friend, Duval Doom, yesterday. And he found I guess it was like a card he had made up that from Radio Shack. I'm assuming he worked there, and it said Victor Von Doom, manager, on it, right? You know, Duval Doom's favorite character is Dr. Doom, right? So he said, I found a bleeping relic today, and held that up. I would like to announce I've also found a relic today.
Oh, yeah?
Because I know somebody who is big into Dr. Doom, And I went to a Comic-Con convention, I'm going, say, 7-8 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Bought him a replica cover of one of the most infamous Doctor Doom covers from Secret Wars in comic lore. Got the artist to sign it for him.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Right? And the person I got it for in all these years may have been a guy that had no problem coming by to visit us when we'd offer him the chance to co-host the show with us, right? Most recently told me he'd come by the Friday of the NFL draft this year. Did not. So if anyone knows anyone who's also a big Dr. Doom fan who would like an autographed replica, commemorative cover of some Marvel Comics artwork signed by the artist, got one that nobody else seems to want. Just throwing that out there, you know? So also this on the Twitter sphere this morning from Cal Jaguar. I have a question, he says. What does the national media hate Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars? No disrespect. You know what's coming next. Here comes the disrespect. But Kyle Brandt and Good Morning Football put him in the same category as Mac Jones. Shaking my freaking head. I'm assuming this is a screenshot from today.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen it floating around in a couple different spots.
Horrible.
So I assume it's today.
Now, I don't get too worried about, we have power polls. Who cares? Power polls.
Yeah.
Go look at the standings, whatever. But really? These are the tiers of AFC quarterbacks, according to Kyle Brandt.
Okay.
Just roughly, what tier do you think Trevor Lawrence would be on? I think like tier 3.
Something like that, yeah.
Right? You'd have like a Mahomes tier, maybe a Burrow-Allen tier because they've done more for longer, gone deeper into the postseason, things like that, blah, blah, blah. And then Trevor would be in the mix with any number of guys, right? Yeah. You got Lamar Jackson, Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, whoever you want to throw in there.
Sure.
That's about where I think.
But not far beneath those guys.
Or
right?
not beneath them at all,
Right.
perhaps.
There's an argument to be made that Trevor Lawrence should be the number 4 quarterback in the AFC when you're doing this kind of thing, and shouldn't be below 7, I wouldn't think.
Overall.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what we got from Kyle Brandt, Good Morning Football. Patrick Mahomes is tier 1. All right.
Okay.
Fine with that. Right? MVP, multiple Super Bowl championships. Yep. Great. Tier 2. Usual suspects. And I'm going to take it that he's putting them on these tiers in the order he sees them. Like, even within a tier, you got to rank guys, right? Yeah. And so he's got Burrow and Allen. Alphabetically, you'd have Allen and Burrow. So I'm going to presume he thinks Burrow is kind of quarterback 2, Allen's quarterback 3, but they're close enough that they're on the same tier. Fine.
Fine, yeah.
Next tier, got Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. All right, well, I guess if you're going to make the argument that Trevor does not belong in this list, you've got Aaron Rodgers won, 4 MVP awards? Lamar's won an MVP. Justin Herbert's thrown for more yards than any quarterback in the first 3 years of his career than any QB in NFL history.
Okay.
All right.
Like, it would make more sense to me to put the 2 guys with the MVP awards in their own tier.
If you're going to put Herbert in there.
Right, and then put Herbert and Trevor Lawrence right next to each other on the next tier.
Right, and granted, head-to-head involves more than just the quarterback play, although Trevor swept Herbert last year. Okay, on to tier 4.
Okay.
Tony, tier 4 consists of 2 quarterbacks, either one of which is Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, God.
Russell Wilson. I mean, is this a Lifetime Achievement Award that we're doing right here?
Right.
And Deshaun Watson. Who the hell knows how good Deshaun Watson is at this point in time? Maybe he's fantastic and he bounces right back, but he basically has missed a season and a half out of the last 2 years, more than that.
Yeah.
And didn't play great when he did play.
I did see on the Deshaun Watson news category, I did see this morning that it appears that one of the civil trials is at least closer to getting a date for one of the 2 women's that did not settle.
Yes, she's taken him to court.
Yeah, and it was she has previously said when she didn't settle that he basically didn't recognize that something happened, so she's not willing to settle until he's willing to do that. So We'll see what that turns out to be. The league has said they're not going to punish him any further than what they've already done.
And this thing has not been settled.
No.
And if he's found guilty, the league's going to look really great.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson on one tier. All right, that's tier 4. This is where it just gets stupid.
Russell Wilson with the 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions last year.
Okay, well, you thought that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I present to you tier 5.
Okay.
One man, all by himself.
Certainly Trevor Lawrence.
Certainly Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, my gosh.
Jimmy freaking Garoppolo now, who, when a stiff wind comes by, he's in traction. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy Garoppolo. So now we're on to tier 6. And again, under the premise of I'm supposing he's picturing them in the order that he likes them within the tier. Otherwise, why would you put them in this order?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the order of tier 6 quarterbacks in the AFC, according to Kyle Brand of Good Morning Football. Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones.
So it's not alphabetical. Okay.
Not alphabetical. Tua. How's Tua not way ahead of both of those guys?
Mm-hmm.
And then Trevor Lawrence at the tail end of tier 6. The only projected starting quarterbacks below Trevor Lawrence are the 3 rookies. C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson. So we get kudos for being better than those guys. I mean, again, whatever they say about him, I hope this is up in his locker later on today.
Yeah.
And take a look at this is what they think of you. And
some
if that
daily
fuels
inspiration.
You,
yeah, like that kind of thing. But
come on, man.
Kyle, I would just say I don't believe you.
That's embarrassing.
Right? I don't believe you that if you had your choice of quarterbacks in the AFC.
You take Garoppolo.
Right.
Kenny Pickett.
I just don't believe you.
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Ahead of Trevor Lawrence. All right.
No way.
You go on ahead with your bad side. I mean, that's just stupid.
I don't believe if you had the choice, you'd take Deshaun Watson. I just don't believe it.
There's no way you take Russell Wilson.
Yeah, no. Your list is nonsense.
It's nonsense, but he's nationally recognized as one of the hosts of the league's official morning show, and spewing that out there. Wow! Thanks to the several now who have shared images of that with me. Appreciate that very much. Just had to get that out there. I mean, there's no accounting for intelligence. I mean, whatsoever. All right. So today's question of the day has nothing to do with Trevor Lawrence, although everything has to do something with Trevor Lawrence. But specifically, if the Jags were to sign a veteran pass rusher, we gave you 4 options. Hey, if you want to go off the board, that's fine. If you got another one out there, there are some interesting names out there to be sure. And I'm hoping we hear by the end of the week, honestly, that we've spent some of that $14+ million in cap space that the Jags currently have right now. As Trent Baalke said, better cap position this year than they were last year.
Yeah.
Coming out of the draft. Of course, they had signed 8 billion players last year, too. Let's go to Brad in Avondale to start things off on the phone lines this morning. Brad, you're on Jaguars Today. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I wanted to get your opinion on the Unique situation. There were some reports that came out recently. I don't know how accurate they are, but they basically suggested that Unique's price range was a little bit higher than what the Jags would want to be at.
Correct.
And then also, he wanted to be an every down player. So with that in mind, we all know how Unique left this organization originally, issues with money, burning bridges with the Khans. So, based on those reports, based on how he left, I mean, I'm a little hesitant to have him back. I like what he can offer us, his talent, but, I just kind of wish that he'd be handling his business a little bit kind of, more under the radar, especially if he's trying to come back and get in the good graces of the Khans. So I'm just curious to know what you guys think. Do you think, based on those reports, do you think it's worth having him come back? I'll take your comments off
All
there.
right, appreciate it, man. Look, if he insists on being an every down player, well, he's not coming back then, because they're not going to make him an every down player. I mean, I think this is an ego thing.
There's no room for one.
Right. There's not a position open for him, and that does factor into my determination of which of these guys, who's going to be the best fit, who will be a good locker room fit, who's going to cost the most. Jan's all about that money. Got to get that money. Look, we all want it, right? But I'll say this, in terms of, I guess, putting himself back in the good graces of the Khan family, I think the mere fact that we've heard that there's interest on both sides, I don't think it develops to that point without somebody going, hey, here's the guy we may be looking at. Hey, owner's son, remember that war of words you got into on social media with Yannick Ngakoue? Can you put that? How do you feel about it, right? And look, the Khans have always said they can help us win, bring them, right? We trust our front office, trust our coaching staff. Maybe sometimes they shouldn't have, but they generally relied on their football people to tell them. So I do think that in terms of that hurdle, I don't think that's the big issue here. I think you'd probably have a yuck. They might even do a press conference together and that kind of thing when it's all said and done. But he doesn't play the run. He's never played the run. He's not a full-time player. If Jan's expectations are to come in here and even being given the chance to compete for a starting job, I think it's silly because should be a sub-package rusher. Look at all the teams he's bounced around to since he's left Jacksonville. They've all realized that, look, they've had so much invested in him, I think they probably felt like they had no choice but to roll him out there.
Yeah, you go look at his snap counts, right? Here in Jacksonville, his first 4 years, he was at 66% of defensive snaps, 74, 75, 80.
That's a lot.
That's a lot in Jacksonville. When he got traded to Minnesota, he played 73% of the snaps. That year with Minnesota. Then he got traded to Baltimore.
After 6 games.
Yep.
They saw enough.
Yep. Baltimore in 9 games played him 57% of defensive snaps. Now, the last 2 years, the Raiders and Colts, respectively, have played him 72 and 73. So he hasn't been – Baltimore, I think, viewed him as you're going to come in and be a pass rusher for us, right? Like, that's essentially how they used him.
And they traded for him during the year.
Right.
It wasn't like he had a training camp or an offseason to compete for a starting job.
All of those things are factors, right? And so then he gets to the Raiders and Colts the last couple of years, and he's still, playing 72, 73% of the stats or snaps. I went and looked up T.J. Watt, right, just to have something else to look at to compare it to. T.J. Watt has played 82, 86, 86, 88, 73, and 83% of defensive snaps. So he's playing about 10% more snaps a game than Yannick Ngakoue over the course. Now, he's not a player taken off the field because he can't stop the run. You're taking him off the field because he needs a breather, right? So it's a little bit more with Yannick Ngakoue, but you look at those numbers, 72, 73 the last couple of years, he might still have it in his head that, yeah, I'm a starter.
Well,
right? Like, he may still have that in his head, but I agree with you. I don't think Jacksonville is going to view him that way, or any of these guys that they might potentially bring in, which might limit how much interest any of these players have in coming to Jacksonville to some degree, because I do think a couple of these guys, even that we have in the poll, may feel that way still at this point in their career. I'm a starter, right? Well, you're not a starter here.
I think Leonard Floyd, that's the word that he feels that way, right? I don't think any of these guys can look at it, and that's a factor. You look at T.J. Watt, who you said plays about 10% more of the snaps, right?
Yeah.
But he has way more production against the run, right? I mean, and again, the primary job
he's
is
a
to come in and
defensive
rush the
player
passer.
of the year candidate.
Correct. And so maybe that's an unfair bar, but if you want to be compared to the best out there, T.J. Watt, in terms of tackling, 54, 68, 55, 53, 64, and then 39 this year because he only played 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They don't sound like overwhelming totals.
No.
Then when I tell you that Yannick Ngakoue has had more than 30 tackles once in his entire career, it kind of puts it a little bit into perspective.
For sure.
And he's played one more year. His final year in Jacksonville, he had 41 tackles. Never had more than 30. 30 tackles for the entire year. So that means, and you get a tackle when you get a sack, by the way. So if you're getting 10 sacks or 9 sacks, take 9 right off the top. He is then tackling running backs or any other ball carrier about 1 1/3 times a game. And he's playing 3/4 of the defensive snaps.
Yeah.
It's just doesn't make plays in that aspect of the game.
And you look at Justin Houston, who we haven't answered the question today yet, but we've talked plenty about him, and I know he's high on your list of any of these guys that, for you, you look at what his snap counts have been in his career, right? And, he was an All-Pro in 2014, a Pro Bowler his first 4 years. Justin Houston played 100% of defensive snaps his rookie year. 100%. 93, 97, 83. His first 4 years, the snap count percentages. After that, 79% in 2016. His last couple of years in Kansas City, 92 and 80. So he was still starter, obviously, there for the Kansas City Chiefs. Since he left Kansas City, his 2 years in Indianapolis, 65-59. His 2 years in Baltimore, 61-44%.
Okay.
Of the snaps.
And on 44% of the snaps, he had 9.5 sacks, and those 2 years in Indy, he combined for 19.
Right. Like, once he left Kansas City, it became clear pretty early on, okay, you are a pass rush guy for
And he's
us.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's going to be 34 this season. So there are, some eventually he's going to slow down.
Yes.
You may think that time is coming now. I mean, last year's numbers don't indicate that, but it will come eventually. We may not see it coming. So I can understand why you might want to go away from him. Anyway, got 4 options in the poll this morning. Frank Clark, Leonard Floyd, Justin Houston, Yannick Ngakoue. Whatever rationale you put into it, all you got to do is vote for the one that you would sign if the Jags were to go out there and bring in a veteran pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Which one you prefer out of that quartet? You can hit us up at MD_1010XL on Twitter. All right, we'll look at Ryan Wilson's draft rankings when we return. Where do the Jaguars slot in? Not so much as a grade, but just relative to the other teams around them getting value in the National Football League draft this year. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Waste Management Wednesday continues from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that dry eye disease affects up to 60 million Americans? Dry eye disease is known to progress. Dry eye disease is one of the most common but least diagnosed eye conditions doctors see in their patients. Many of us who have dry eye may not even feel it. At Bowden Eye and Associates, visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. Bowden Eye and Associates. New location now open off County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years, you can count on Catlin.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hacker here for the Sausage Dude Sausage. Look, I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude Sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. The Sausage Dudes use high-quality pork, natural casings, along with love and dedication. You can pick up their 4 terrific flavors, including my favorite, the Italian, at Publix locations all throughout Jacksonville. And a portion of the proceeds go to benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Take it from me, the Sausage Guy. Get over to Publix right now to get your hands on the Sausage Dude Sausage.
Captain Kevin Favor here to tell you about my friends over at Duck Duck Rooter. They are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and are currently looking for top talent to join their team. If you are a plumber, CDL driver, or have experience installing septic drain fields, come join Duck Duck Rooter and win. They offer their players a full package that includes excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, matching 401k, and new state-of-the-art equipment and more. Log on to duckduckrooter.com and click on the careers page to apply. That's duckduckrooter.com.
Equal opportunity employee. This is Hayes Carlyon for Spicklemeyer Insurance Agency. I was paying too much for car insurance, paying for things I didn't need. My friend John Spicklemeyer fixed all that for me with impeccable customer service. For all your car insurance needs, call John at 471-7155.
I'm Niall Lawrence Stample, owner of NLS Cleaning and former Florida State National Champion. From soft washing to gutter cleaning, we're the exterior cleaning experts. Visit nlscleaning.net or call us at 904-708-8802.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Our coordinates here are, our coordinates here are
10, 10, XL.
Jaguars today
on 1010XL.
Jan's all about that money. Got to get that money. Look, we all want it, right?
Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
We're all about that money at times. No doubt about that. Over 400 votes this morning, and the most people want Yannick Ngakoue, but not the majority of people. He's got the highest vote count at the moment of any of the options we gave you in the poll. We'll debate that amongst ourselves a little bit later on in the show. If you've got thoughts on who you'd like to see the Jags add in a pass rush variety or anything else Jaguar related, love to have you on board at 641-1010. Jan, Clark, Floyd, and Houston in that order. By what margins? Go hop on Twitter and check it out for yourself. All right, this is what happens and is why we got to take all these rankings that we like to look at with a grain of salt, right? But, man, I'm going to get, how many browser windows do you think I get open right now?
I'll
6,
go
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I got 20.
Wow.
I had 20 browser windows open. About half of them about Antonio Brown, to be honest with you, because I'm on every last detail. E.T., have you seen the Antonio Brown story this morning?
I did.
Yeah.
It's pretty relevant because the Jacksonville Sharks plays that
Right,
team.
that's their next opponent. Right, on the 20th. By the way, how do you get a 3-week break in the middle of the football season?
I don't even know.
What's up, Arena Football? Like, the Sharks played 4 games. Last played on April 30th. Next game is May 20th. Against the Albany, what are they called? The whatever
Empire.
they are.
Albany Empire.
The Empire, yes. So we'll get to that. Antonio Brown is in an ownership position right now and showing off his bona fides, I suppose. All right. Anyway, we'll get back to that. But here's what I was talking about a moment ago, or at least alluding to. See if I can pronounce this. Adetomiwa Adibawore.
Okay.
Okay. Defensive tackle who had a great combine, gets drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, and he goes, I think, with the 8th pick of round 4. Okay. Mel Kiper, at some point in one of his mocks, had him going 26th overall to the Dallas Cowboys, right? So I think when we look at these, who did great, who got great value, so much of it is baked in sometimes to faulty input on the front end, right? The old expression, garbage in, garbage out, right? You only get it out as good as the info you put in. If you're suggesting that these guys were top 30 players and you felt that way, and then the Colts get them at pick 120 or anyone gets them, you're going to say, wow, that's amazing, instead of going, wow, how wrong I really was, right? Like the whole NFL just told me I'm an idiot because every team passed on this guy like 3 times. But that doesn't mean he won't be a good player. I'm just pointing out that I think that phenomenon happens overwhelmingly with these kind of rankings.
And I know we're going to look at Ryan Wilson and his rankings of the draft.
Because he has the Colts very high.
He has the Colts at number 2.
Correct.
Overall. Now, it is interesting you mentioned that, this edge player coming out of Northwestern, that he had been mocked sometimes in the first round. And what Wilson does with his list is he puts his favorite pick, then he puts his best value pick, then his most surprising pick. That wasn't even in the best value.
Correct.
In his mind.
Right.
For the
No, I saw that too. I thought that one might be the one, but that had to be a factor in the whole thing. By the way, he's like 280 pounds, right? Some people list him as an edge. CBS Sports themselves list him alternately in their write-up about the Colts. They list him as an edge. If you click on his name, the CBS Sports page for him lists him as a defensive tackle. So, it may be one of those guys that, in a 3-4 front, moves around, does some different things, whatever the case. That's not the important thing here. The important thing is what he was seen as heading into the draft, and therefore that's going to reflect in how you feel about how the team who selected him did in the draft. But you're right. The Colts did very well. They were number 2. Pittsburgh had the best draft value-wise, according to, I guess this is just ranking every team's NFL draft class is how he puts it for Ryan Wilson here. Broderick Jones, you get Joey Porter, who, granted, again, did not go where people said he was going to go, but people look at that and go, oh, they got a first-round value at the top of round 2. Oh, they got Darnell Washington at the 30th pick of round 3. What a value. Well, maybe he wasn't a value. Maybe the NFL's like, hey, he's not as good as you think he is. And yes, you've got the knee issue and whatever. But you can't tell me that. And the fact that they jumped right ahead of the Jets, and everyone felt they were going to take Broderick Jones. So there's a little bit of marksmanship. Like, hey, we slid into the right spot at the right time, got a guy that we would have missed out on otherwise. So anyway, Broderick Jones, Joey Porter, Keanu Benton, Darnell Washington, and others for the Pittsburgh Steelers gave him the number 1 draft. Fine. Anthony Richardson, that's his favorite pick. Compared him to Dante Culpepper and Cam Newton. Also compared him to Andrew Luck, mostly in terms of athleticism with all those guys. And, making the point that, then ironic, he compares favorably to Andrew Luck in some categories, and he's on the Colts, all right. Darius Rush was the best value. The cornerback out of South Carolina went early 5th round to them, while the Jags were taking Yasir Abdullah a little before that, and then most surprising pick was Blake Freeland, but they do like the Colts draft. Giants at 3, 49ers at 4. Stop me if you heard that. People like the way the 49ers draft. 49ers did not have a pick until the 24th pick of round 3, and they had the 4th best draft.
Okay.
Of all, if you're just saying, oh, they got some good values, how can this collection of players be the 4th best collection of players when you didn't have a pick for almost the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft? That doesn't make any sense to me. But they had 3 thirds, 2 fifths, a 6th, and 3 7ths. So kind of like the Jags on the back end.
Took a kicker in the 3rd round.
And took a kicker, right. Their second pick was a freaking kicker. People love the tight end out of Alabama. Some do anyway. Cameron Latu. All right. Green Bay, took Lucas Van Ness, then got Luke Musgrave in the second round. Tucker Kraft, a pretty highly regarded tight end, although they doubled down at the position. Colby Wooden's a guy the Jags showed interest in. Anyway, they came in 5th in the rankings. Not terrible there. The Broncos had the 5th best draft. They had 5 picks in the draft. Their first pick was the 32nd pick of round 2, Marvin Mims. He's an okay player.
Yeah.
Drew Sanders, Riley Moss, J.L. Skinner, Alex Forsythe. That's the 6th best draft. Is everyone just telling you that it's a horrible year for the NFL draft?
Apparently, yeah.
Seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
this just seems like a down year overall.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns come in 7th. The Raiders at 8. And, of course, they've got that Tier 4 quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo to lean on, too.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, surprisingly, Philadelphia only at 9 with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, and Keely Ringo among their selections. So they go Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Stanford, and Illinois is where their players came from. Gene Smith ain't working for that team, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
The Rams came in at number 10 and didn't have a first-round pick, but at least they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They had 14 selections, right, including a high second-rounder. And then the Jags come in at 11 overall, which not bad, right? I mean, I feel like I don't think most of us break down other teams' draft classes that deeply.
No,
right?
yeah.
I think I would have expected more of like a 20th place showing, where the middle class gets kind of lumped together, but that you didn't stand out that much above the field. Now, the Jags did have a lot of picks as well. Their favorite, Ryan Wilson's, was Yasir Abdullah, who he called a twitched-up edge rusher, plays much bigger than his frame, could play off the ball, meaning inside, but wherever he lines up, he's a playmaker. So that was his favorite pick. Best value, is everyone not saying Anthony Johnson or Antonio Johnson at this point? I mean, everyone is,
sure.
right? Pretty much, right?
You saw him on the top 35 of some big boards.
Yeah.
Right? Like
certainly mocked heavily in the second round.
Yeah.
Many, many times. Saw that so often it seemed like they were. I mean, I saw so many of those multiple round mocks that had them go to the Jags in 2 or 3, and then they get him in 5.
Yep.
So again, does that make him a good value, or does that mean that everyone else is like, you know what, you guys were overestimating how good this guy was? But said he can line up just about anywhere, slot, deep center field as the apex defender.
Okay.
Tony, about the apex predator. And he's a heat-seeking missile coming downhill. We thought he was a lock to be a day 2 pick, but he lasted late into round 5. Most surprising pick. No surprise that the most surprising pick is Ventrell Miller. It pretty much follows along, whether your favorite pick was Yasir Abdullah, many people feel Antonio Johnson was the best value. Ventrell Miller was the head-scratcher. As he said, he's not necessarily undersized by today's off-ball linebacker standards, but lacks high-end athleticism, but he's incredibly tough. Did everything he did, battling a foot injury. They like his game, just not early on day 3. But anyway, those were the Jaguar superlatives. Let's see. Tennessee came in at 16. They like the Tyjae Spears pick. He doesn't have an ACL. Right? Doesn't he have a ACL missing in one of his knees at this point?
Maybe.
I think that's the case with Tyjae Spears. So that was their favorite pick for the Titans. Just slap a little mayo on that. It'll be fine. And then let's see. Where did the Houston Texans come in?
Down at the bottom.
Are they down at the – really, that's interesting with the – you get Stroud and Will Anderson.
They were like 31.
Yikes. Yes, 31. So you had the second and third picks in the draft. You took, by consensus, I think one of the top 2 quarterbacks, right? Not everyone's going to agree with that, but overall. And you took, again, by consensus, certainly a top 3, if not the best position player in the entire draft. And that's what they got. Favorite pick was C.J. Stroud, not complicated. Couldn't come out of the draft without a quarterback. Wisely took the second best on the board. Okay, best value, Xavier Hutchinson, big target with high point skills. They got the Iowa State wide receiver late in round 6. Most surprising, we were higher on Juice Scruggs than some of our colleagues, but we thought he was an early day 3 pick instead of a late second rounder. So, again, your preconceived notions of what the value is obviously reflected in this. I wonder, did they take what they gave up into account. It doesn't seem like it. I mean,
No,
there's
yeah.
nothing here, but like you look at like you did what now, and you look at every mock, and Arizona has the first 2 picks in next year's draft because the betting markets tell you that Arizona and Houston had the best chances to have the number 1 pick, and Arizona owns them both at this point in time. So let's only hope that Houston's in a position to earn a top 2 pick. Go Cardinals.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care. Go ahead, load up over there in the NFC West. Worst draft. Can't wait to talk to Michael Fabiano over on Fantasy Sports Radio. The Dallas Cowboys with Mazzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker, the all-name squad led by DeMarvion Overshone, straight out of the Key and Peele skit on the East-West Bowl, and Deuce Vaughn, late out of Kansas State. Anyway, didn't like the Dallas draft, but regardless. So Jags fared pretty well there. You know, and again, look, proof's in the pudding. Go out there and play. We get all that. We're not projecting all these guys make the team. We have our questions as well, but just curious that, you know, we focus so much on the questions we have about the team that we cover. Well, around the National Football League, according to Ryan Wilson, probably 2/3 of the teams are doing the exact same thing, at least to the same degree. So, all right, halfway home, if you want to get in, 641-1010. Today's question of the day presented by Chad and Sandy. Real estate is, which veteran pass rusher do you prefer if the Jags were to sign one? Gave you a 4-person poll. You can vote on social media at MD_1010XL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helping you over the hump. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on Jaguars Today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Here's another look behind the microphone at 1010XL with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You know, there's always one guy in the locker room who's going to run around snapping towels at the other guy's privates. I guess that's going to be you.
Mornings on 1010XL.
At least we know. Game on.
There is so much I love about spring. Mia here. It's hard to choose a favorite. Kind of like the amazing used selection you'll find at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking 400 premium pre-owned on the lot. So to make your decision a little easier, you get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one that you do. And with a 4.7 out of 5-star rating and over 16,000 Google reviews, you know my friends at Arlington are going to help you pick the best ride for you. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best product for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Mom. Looking for a great way for your kids to enjoy sports? Check out I9 Sports, the way youth sports should be, offering flag football, basketball, soccer, and t-ball in Duval, St. Johns, and Clay County. You can play year-round, fall, winter, spring, and summer seasons with co-ed programs ages 3 to 17. Enter promo code 1010XL to receive $5 off registration. All the details are at i9sports.com.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
Tired of the same old places for happy hour? Downtown's best is at Bellwether. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 because why not? For all you late-nighters, Bellwether offers nightcap specials on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 11. Want a snack with your cocktail? Bellwether has a unique bar food spread. And guess what? All metered parking is free after 6 and weekends. That's Bellwether Downtown.
Survey says 1010XL wants to know more about you. Take the listener survey to tell us what you like. You could win tickets to see the Sharks and Jumbo Shrimp or golf at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Just take the survey at 1010XL.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound Security is hiring salespeople right now. If you want to sell new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound Security is looking for you. Tyson Sound Security is hiring for sales positions, and they will train you to be successful. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. That's 762-1000. Hiring for sales positions right now. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. Equal opportunity employer.
I'm Taylor Dahl with your 1010XL local sports update. Congratulations to the Jacksonville Icemen after a 4-2 win last night against Greenville. They now move on to round 2 of the Kelly Cup playoffs, where they face division rival Florida Everblades. That series starts at home on Friday, and the Florida Gators do it again. The season sweep over Florida State after their 7-5 victory here in Jacksonville. Wyatt Langford and Jack Caglione turned in multi-hit nights while also swatting back-to-back homers in the win. Gators have now won 22 of the last 26 games against the Noles. As for JU baseball, they return home and found their offensive groove again, winning 14-4 in 8 innings after Chris Armstrong's bases-loaded triple over Bethune-Cookman last night. Dolphins are now 26-18. 72 degrees at 11:04. Time and temper brought to you by Bueller Air Condition. Stay cooler with Bueller.
This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Just looked up at the main screen. Who is misranked, most likely to jump up and under the most pressure to win, as they show a little B-roll of Trevor Lawrence in the background, and it says reaction to the Kyle Brandt's quarterback tears being revealed. Here's the reaction: Kyle Brandt's an idiot. There's no other reaction necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to put Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo, Russell Wilson at this stage, all these guys ahead of Trevor Lawrence in your quarterback rankings, you're just trying to be provocative. And I guess we're feeding right into it. I'm sure he's trying to get the Jacksonville market stirred up.
Right.
I'm sure that was intent. But, I mean, honestly, Garoppolo on a tier all by himself. And, by the way, horrible graphics on ESPN.
Yeah.
How pixelated can
What
these
is that?
pictures be, right? Don't have enough money? NFL not printing enough money these days to get good camera quality? I don't know, man. I don't get NFL Network. I don't watch NFL Network. I don't need NFL Network. I follow the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need Kyle Brandt to tell me something stupid in the morning on a show that I can't watch anyway, or at least listen to because we're on the air.
Yeah, the only time I have NFL Network on is when they're showing a game.
Sure,
That's
like
it.
a replay of a game.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's,
Or on the occasion when they're doing like the Saturday games late in the year and it's the NFL doubleheader that day is on NFL Network.
Sure.
Right, like that kind of thing.
Right.
That's when I have NFL Network on. But
I'm not saying I've never watched a game on NFL Network in that circumstance, Tony, but as you know, I don't have NFL Network, and I will leave it at that.
I don't think I do right now either.
Well,
think it just
every
got knocked
Xfinity
off
customer,
Xfinity, yeah.
but it came back.
Okay.
Like the same day or the next day, something like that.
I didn't check to see if
Discussions
it was
at the highest levels of the organization. Seriously, this was like the report, like whoever the head guy is at Xfinity got together with the head guy of NFL Network apparently and is like, all right, we both want this to happen. What do we got to do here? So I guess it went away for a day, but I didn't notice. All right, might as well hit the particulars on this Antonio Brown situation that we talked about. Antonio Brown's a guy who, as we all know, courts controversy, does really dumb things, exposes himself on social media. Like, this is a guy, like, if you're the Arena League, do you even want Antonio Brown as a member of your club? Maybe they couldn't stop him. I know the NFL is very strict about who they let in, but what's gonna show up next?
Yeah, what seemed like a guy that is volatile, to say the least, right?
Poor judgment,
but
no filter.
His money spends as well as anybody's as long as you can get the money.
Is he the only? Maybe he's the only one who's got money, but apparently doesn't spend.
Yeah.
It would theoretically spend as well as anyone else's, but apparently Antonio Brown is not paying the team. It's apparently now has a controlling interest in the Albany Empire in the Arena League, who've won, by the way, the last 2 arena championships, and then their coach, and look, I'll be honest with you, don't follow it. E.T. knows more in his little finger for spending time around the Sharks than I do about anything going on arena-wise, okay? Last thing I remember about arena football was Marcus Outson playing here in Jacksonville. The Rooster had his day in the sun, or I guess sun would not be appropriate for an indoor league, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, the former coach is out. They got a new coach in this year. I don't know the particulars. All the guy did was win the last 2 championships, right? So, probably wanted a raise. Stupid guy. What do you think you've done to deserve a raise here?
Yeah.
So, players are on the road. Their last game, they don't get paid. They're supposed to get a direct deposit before the game. And think about that, by the way, right? Like in the NFL, you play, you get paid on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. And you don't really have to sweat it, do you?
No,
right?
yeah.
Like, that check's coming,
The
right?
last check should have you covered, right?
Right, but even so, like, if you're a rookie and you're like, man, I finally made the league, I got some bills, maybe I wasn't, I got to pay my mom's mortgage, whatever. That first check, you can count on it like clockwork, right? You probably already got a bonus and all that, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
The money's coming.
It's going to be there.
So these guys didn't get their checks, but they played. They played on the promise that, don't worry, because ownership just changed hands in the last month or so, right? And Brown was like a minority owner. Now he's like the controlling owner of the team. So the coach goes to Antonio Brown's like, hey, man, it ain't cool to not get paid. To which Antonio Brown allegedly threatened him physically. Like, bro, you got to pay him.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And so you think you can just roll in here and you can just be like, hey, man, shut up, or I'm going to beat your beep, and nothing's going to happen?
Right.
So the coach is like, screw this, I'm out. The players were complaining. Antonio Brown went to the hotel they were staying in, told them to deactivate all their key cards, locking them all out of the rooms.
Oh, boy.
This is very sound, basic business management principles in action right here now, right? So the players apparently are upset with the hotel. The hotel's like, well, you're not paying for these rooms. They are, and this and that. And to the point where a couple of the players now are being charged with some kind of harassment. I don't know what the details of that are.
I imagine they were upset. Yeah.
Right, they were aggravated harassment. Like, were they threatening? Hey, I'm going to beat your so and so when Antonio Brown's done with you. When he's done flashing you in the pool, I'm going to come in there and I'm getting that suitcase, whether you like it or not. So now none of the players have been paid. They're not going to play. I mean, this is the 2-time defending arena champion squad. And Jacksonville's next opponent, by the way, on the schedule at least. And that's where we're at with Antonio Brown right now. Like, again, what at any point, and at some point yesterday, he tweeted out, Brown did, that the former coach who won them 2 championships, but for some reason was not brought back, would be returning. Then he deleted that tweet. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Clearly, he's just coming in and trying to intimidate people with force of personality, it appears. I mean, how do you not pay your players? And they said, well, it was we had a lot of front office people leave and there were financial problems. Really? I mean, this is weeks ago that they transferred ownership of this team. And that would seem like that's one of the fundamental things. Hey, by the way, got a lot of staff here. It's not just the players. Got all these people. They got to get paid. Everything's going to continue to run smoothly. No. Here's Antonio Brown, and like I said, his money spends theoretically as good as anybody else's. I don't know how many people are looking to invest and buy an arena team, and maybe it's that. Like, hey, we got this guy who's going to bring some visibility, and he's going to bring a whole lot of baggage with him, too.
I don't think in recent NFL history that there's been a player that when they were coming towards the end of their playing career was being discussed. When Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh, what was that, 2018 was his last year in Pittsburgh, I want to say, something around there, and wound up in New England after that. But when he left Pittsburgh, the discussions about Antonio Brown were, how many years will it take him to get in the Hall of Fame after he retires? Right? Like, that was
would he be a first ballot guy?
Right. Like, that was the discussion about Antonio Brown at that point in time. Have you seen it crumble more quickly for a guy?
Honestly, I think there's still an incredibly strong case that Antonio Brown belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
But with all this off-field stuff,
well,
we it held T.O. out
I know.
for a year.
And that's the thing.
It just piles on, and that's just because they didn't like him, right? Like Antonio Brown, it goes beyond that with Antonio Brown. Like, I do wonder, I think he was a Hall of Fame caliber player. I don't know if that group of men will ever allow him to be a Hall of Famer.
Maybe
with
not.
all this other stuff that he's done. Now, it's not the worst, of all time. This is a league that had O.J. Simpson in it, right? There's been worse as far as guys' post-playing career stuff that they've done.
Yeah, but some would vote for O.J. now, some wouldn't.
Sure.
Right? Due to morality or whatever. But 1698, 1834, 1533, 1297, 1284, 1499, 1108. Those are some of the yardage totals for Antonio Brown throughout his career. Led the league in receiving yards twice, receptions twice, receiving touchdowns with a high of 15 once, and had 13, 10, 12, 9, and 15 in a 5-year run, which is pretty ridiculous. And just went completely off the deep end. Tony, in his last year in Pittsburgh, he was 30.
Yeah.
Can't tell me Antonio Brown wouldn't have had, 2-3 more 1,200-yard type
Certainly
seasons
felt
in
like
him,
he would,
right?
yeah.
Maybe not the 1,500-yard, 1,800-yard guy anymore, but land in the right spot. He had Tom Brady in his corner as his advocate, and he screwed that up as well. I mean, it's a case of a classic meltdown. A guy who's, clearly, Antonio Brown, in my estimation, I say clearly, my opinion, he's got emotional problems. He's got some kind of problems. He's got problems with impulse control, and it has run him out of the league. Now, for all I know, Antonio Brown's sitting on $80 bajillion and could care less, and he loves rapping and getting up on stage and doing whatever he does like right now and not paying his players.
Yeah.
So he likes those things.
If you got $80 bajillion,
pay your players.
Can you imagine if you had to go a week where the team was just like, no, we can't afford to pay you this week? Like, Can you imagine what you would have done, Antonio? What are you doing?
Right. I mean, that
these
of course,
guys don't
will
make
never
what you
happen
made
at that level.
ever, right? Like, these guys are just trying to hang on to playing football still in their lives, and you're doing this?
Yeah. It's a joke, man. But you know what? I mean, God bless the Arena League. It's still, I mean, I don't know if you can kill it. But, I mean, this is a 2-time defending champ of that league. Sells to this guy and has this. I mean, what an embarrassment, honestly. So, Sharks mop the floor with him. Maybe we'll get a nice forfeit victory on the 20th.
Have a month off.
Of the month. E.T., will you still be out there hyping up the crowd if the other team doesn't show?
Man, hey, if they pay it, I'm going.
Will you, if they pay, well, that's the key, right? It is the Arena League. Would you lead, like, taunts of the Albany Empire bus as it rolls in?
Absolutely. Ain't nobody safe.
They shouldn't be. I just wanted to see, like, how far you're willing to go for your hometown Jacksonville Sharks.
Oh, everybody get it. They had a big guy on the Orlando team. He wore number 7. I call him Michael Thick. That's Mike Thick on
Mike
the play.
Thick. Not bad. I like that. All right. So anyway, that's rarely do we go outside the National Football League, but Antonio Brown helps us bridge the gap between two worlds. We'll go around the league when we come back. Now let's look at and we'll do this. We'll develop this more as the week goes on. But we talked about just how good this offense could potentially be, just kind of running through the depth chart, right? If everybody stays healthy, plays to their potential, you got a lot of pieces in place to really hang a lot of points this year. What's a kind of squint and take a look at the best case scenario for the defensive side of the ball? Yeah. Start to talk about that when we come back here in a moment. With Tony Smith and ET, I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Keeping the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios clean. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on 1010XL. JOI, where the pros go.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
ITB Partners, the official financial firm for the station to beat inflation.
Whoa, Dan. People don't want to joke about their money, not during these tough times.
You mean they'd rather hear about how ITB Partners takes our money and makes us more money?
Now you're talking. They make financial planning simple and easy to understand, even for a couple of slappies like us.
Those guys have been serving Hickets for 3 generations. Junie Bug, me. I even got my son Drew being smart with his money in his 20s.
It's never too early to talk with Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Brian Wright, Reagan Wright, Jeff Hartman, and Craig Ross.
Financial questions, ideas, or thoughts, email chris@itbpartners.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Island Wing Company, located on Southside near Tinseltown, and our new location at Bartram Park in St. Johns County. 2 great locations offering the ultimate sports bar experience where you can stick to healthy options. Island Wing Company has a wide selection of fryer-free food. The wings are baked, not fried, with so many awesome flavors to choose from. You can also get delicious salmon, tuna, flatbreads, and tacos. With tons of spectacular TVs, dog-friendly patios, and 2 daily happy hours, Island Wings can't be beat.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This Mother's Day season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. Buy a $75 gift card or more and guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes a perfect gift for everyone. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
Catch Mia's quick hits on the video and social channels of 1010XL, driven by Arlington Toyota.
E.T. here, and y'all know how much I like my brown water, but I ain't gonna lie, it gives me headaches sometimes. So my alternative is Brackish Vodka. This gluten-free alternative to Tito's is 100% local, and all monies stays right here in Duval. Not only does Brackish Vodka make you feel good, but when you support Brackish Vodka, you're also helping local charities. Try it side by side with your favorite vodka, and you will taste and smell how natural Brackish Vodka really is. And when you do, remember who sent you. Come on, somebody.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co.
We do outdoors better.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
Yo, yo, yo! Are you looking for the lowest price on car insurance? ET here for Australia Car Insurance. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE today. Australia is your quick and easy alternative to pay less for car insurance. Switch and save money. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE today.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
He doesn't pull punches.
You want to punch me right now, but you won't.
He doesn't beat around the bush.
You got aggression? That's even better. You're going to need that too.
Rick Ballou is the truth teller.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Evenings on 1010XL.
Wait, what?
Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we move along throughout hour number 2 here of Jaguars Today on this Wednesday morning. We'll start to get some of our draft pundits on in the days and weeks ahead to kind of reflect like we do, right? Here's what you thought going in. Here's how they did. What do you think afterwards? And really, I think some of the guys wondering, do they take a critical look at themselves and say, you know what? I had this guy in the second round, and he went in the 6th, right? Like everybody had second, third, fourth, fifth chance to draft him, passed him up. Did they ever go, you know, maybe I'm just wrong this time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you ever go, damn, I got to go back and
what do they see that I'm not seeing, or
what do they not
didn't they see
that I thought I saw, or
Yeah.
something like that? And do they go back and get critical with their own assessments? I'm sure there's self-evaluation that goes on, but to what degree? Kind of curious there. All right, let's take a look at this depth chart, Tony. Because offense is loaded. Okay, again, looking for I think health is going to be critical at some spots on the defense this year, more than the offense, which is deeper. Obviously, quarterback's the most critical spot on the field, regardless. So let's not even talk about that. But in terms of the down linemen in your 3-4 defense, okay, you have contract extensions to Devon Hamilton, Roy Robertson Harris. And you got Foley Fatukasi, hopefully healthy this year. Wasn't always healthy last year. You have Gotsis as some proven depth. You drafted Tyler Lacey in round 4, guy that they liked, who, you know, a lot of people are projecting kind of as the Dwan Smoot replacement. And then, you know, whether it's, you know, Vlasic, your late draft pick, or a Dogby or a Mondu or any of these guys, Jeremiah Ledbetter who's been here. We're talking about your 6 down linemen.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an okay group.
Yeah, Dogby Mondu is your 6th and 7th guy, okay. Right? Like, that's all right. Now, how much impact are you getting from the front guys? Right? Like, you're counting, that's why you give the extension of Roy Robertson Harris, that the last month of the season is who he is.
He and Devon.
Right. Like that kind of thing, they're obviously banking on that, but that's what they're banking on. They've made the decision in this offseason to do it that way.
Hey, is that your foot?
No, that wasn't me.
Was that not your foot? I don't know what that was.
I don't know what it was.
Something creepy under this table right now, man. I could have sworn it was Tony's foot. I don't know. I don't know what's up.
I saw you looking. I was like, what?
Action.
What happened?
I don't know. I thought, I'm like, it's got to be Tony's foot. It happens when you bump foots. And, no, he's in the other room. I don't know what's going on down there. All right, back to, sorry. Look, if they play like they played.
Yeah.
We're putting the best possible spin on this,
yeah.
right?
Well, and I also think, look, we've discussed several times over the years, if they're running a 3-4, you're not looking for big sack numbers from your ends in a 3-4. Like, if they give you 4 or 5 in a year, it's a big year.
But I want this team to be, when you've got the league's leading tackler playing behind this group, it should be incredibly tough to run on.
You would think.
And if Fatukasi's healthy, maybe they will be, I think they're like average to above average potentially if everybody stays healthy and plays to their potential. Maybe you could say that about most NFL teams, right? If everyone plays to their potential. But I don't hate what they have up front. They added Tyler Lacey. They added some late guys. It is what it is. But they clearly like some of what they had. They paid Foley a lot of money. He was playing injured for a lot of last year. Maybe we should give him at least the opportunity to show us what they saw in him on film prior to that. And then obviously with the extensions with Hamilton and Roy Robertson Harris, they're telling you that they like them enough and they feel like they can be a part of a winning culture here in Jacksonville.
They were 12th against the run last year.
I think they should be better.
Mm-hmm.
Should be. Not can be. Should be better. Foye Oluokun, I don't know what else you really want out of him. Guy led the league in tackles, right? Is he a perfect player? Would you like a few more turnovers? Sure. But I'm very happy with what Foye gave you. And, he gave you those football smarts as well as the production and hopefully won't be needed as much. Again, best case scenario here, Devin Lloyd takes a big mental step forward in year number 2.
Yep.
Defensive Rookie of the Year out of the gates last year. Maybe you can, be a defensive player of the Rookie of the Month, I should say, in September. Maybe he can be a contender for a Defensive Player of the Month one of these months. He's got that kind of talent.
He does.
On the interior behind him, we know Muma, Shaq Quarterman, Ventrell Miller. They've got good depth there.
No doubt.
It's solid. That's a solid group. A lot of it's going to be determined by how big a step forward Devin Lloyd takes this year, right?
And I know a lot of fans are asking how much more are they going to play him as kind of an edge rusher this year. Like, they have enough middle linebackers that they could afford to do it if they want to. Right? If they feel like Devin Lloyd is their best option in some of those packages, okay.
I don't think he will be.
Maybe they do some of that, but I'm with you. I think they drafted him to be a middle linebacker. They're going to play him as a middle linebacker, I think is what's going to happen.
Because we both think the veteran pass rush help will come.
Yeah.
Whether it's the right guy or not, we'll find out. But now the question is, the biggest question. Josh Allen's done it to a fairly high level.
Mm-hmm.
But he did that, kind of in the shadow of Calais Campbell.
Sure.
Can he, and we still expect a breakout year from Josh. What does that look like in year 5? I don't know. But is Josh Allen capable of giving this team 12 sacks?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Is Trayvon Walker capable of giving this team 8?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he is, right?
It's not necessarily what I expect, but he's certainly capable.
I'm asking capable. I'm not even going on the top end. I think if you said, give me everything works, it's phenomenal. We're playing with a bunch more leads or in more obvious pass rush situations. Maybe Josh Allen has 14 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Trayvon's a 10-sack guy.
Mm-hmm.
But give me 12 and 8. Give me 20 out of those two. I'd be freaking delighted.
Yeah.
Now, as it stands right now, nothing behind him.
Nothing.
That's proven at all. Yasir Abdullah, hope you're ready to come on, man, because Jordan Smith's barely been able to get on the field while he's here. Caleb Von Jason doesn't need to be getting on the field here, other than special teams that much. This is the area. If Allen or Walker gets hurt, I'm not saying they don't have the bodies, they couldn't fill it, but your depth is going to get tested.
The drop is off a cliff.
massively.
Yeah.
You know, but again, best case scenario, that pair stays healthy, maybe gives you 20 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Going to the secondary, Tyson Campbell, very happy about him.
Yep.
Can Rayshon Jenkins replicate what he did last year? We did it once, right? So again, best case scenario, Rayshon plays like he did last year.
Yep.
Gives you some big plays in there. Not going to be a perfect safety, but he's a tone setter at times. Andre Cisco blooms into his own. Becomes the guy who gets 6 interceptions, right? I mean, that's what his rep was coming out.
Yeah.
Ball hawk. Let's see it now, okay? If Andre Cisco can become an eraser on the back end of the defense, that'll make up for some pass rush. It'll make up for some coverage deficiencies. Will it happen? Don't know. Could it happen? Sure, it could.
Yeah.
Darius Williams played pretty well outside last year.
Yes, he did.
Going to have to stay healthy, right? I mean, because, again,
not a lot of depth.
Not a lot of proven depth, that's for sure. And then Trey Herndon right now is the lead guy. I mean, I feel like this cornerback group is like kind of hold your breath and hang on and hope. I don't know what the high – I guess if you're looking at the high end, Tyson Campbell's like a 6 interception guy, right? Maybe has a couple of pick sixes. Darius Williams continues to improve, and somebody or several somebodies surprise us or surprise me with the step forward that they take right now. Because I still think there's a little bit shaky. And so I think if you look at each of those things and you look at the best case scenario, like, they could be with what we expect the offense to be, and that's not even getting into the special teams. They could be okay to maybe even pretty good. But what is the likelihood that all those best case scenarios roll in?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably not that high.
Yeah.
You ready to win some 38-31 games? I'm fine with it.
I think the offense is, yeah.
They're going to need to probably win a few. Now, will they have occasions where they click and they play well and maybe dominate inferior offensive opponents? Let's hope so. Want some laughers along the way, too. But I do think they've got enough. I think the defense can be competitive enough that if this offense stays healthy and is what we think it can be, that maybe the defense is not going to be as big a detriment to getting to where they want to go as we think it might.
And I do think Antonio Johnson's a big wild card, right? Like whether that guy is able to come in and maybe you get him in and the idea was, okay, he's a box safety, right? As Trent Baalke talked about, that's where we likely see him playing big slot corner, right? That kind of thing. But you get in camp and you're like, no, he's our best slot, right? Like he's just our best slot defender. And he excels at doing that kind of thing. You figure out, okay, he can handle NFL receivers that are going to be coming outside. Like that would be, the top end of what you would expect based on what we've seen and read here in the last couple of days about Antonio Johnson. But that would be the top end of it, right? That you got a guy in the 5th round that covers your biggest need in the secondary going into this offseason that you didn't address in any other way, right? Like that's how they've addressed that problem in this offseason is Antonio Johnson. So does he answer that question or not?
Look, there are guys as well that you're allowed to get better, right? Just because you haven't done a ton, like Trey Herndon can get better. Yeah. Let's hope, right? Chris Claybrooks, can he get better? Can some of these other guys that are hanging around the roster right now, like Greg Jr. or Tavon Campbell, take a step forward?
Talking about the Devin Lloyd step forward, I thought their biggest issue in coverage last year was their linebackers couldn't cover.
Couldn't cover tight ends,
right?
Like sure.
That was their biggest issue in coverage last year was that their linebackers just didn't give them enough in that regard. So does Devin Lloyd going from year 1 to year 2? We talk about that step up. That's part of it.
Does he become a much more well-rounded player?
Yeah. Does he know where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there in the defense?
There's got to be some hope that that's going to be the case because, you
You're
always
banking
talk about
on it.
You make that big improvement from year 1 to year 2. Your head shouldn't be swimming. You've got a full off season to focus on nothing but your NFL professional football responsibilities. You're not preparing for the draft. You're not training, doing all these different things where you're training for the underwear Olympics as opposed to training to learn your specific team's defense. So, again, we're giving you best case scenario. The odds of all these things happening probably pretty low. You probably get a couple injuries, right? A couple of guys will disappoint you, and along the way, as long as 16 continues his progress and stays healthy,
they'll be all right.
Any week
Yeah.
You got a chance against anybody in the National Football League. And is that a nice place to be in after the last 12-ish years around these parts? All right, we'll come back and make a specific case for one of these specific pass rushers that we asked you to decide between today. The Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day: if the Jacksonville Jaguars sign a veteran pass rusher this offseason, which one would you prefer? Also got to go around the National Football League quickly when we come back. Frank Clark, Leonard Floyd, Justin Houston, Unique Ngakoue, your options. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. The Thompson family has been cooking, and I mean cooking up some wonderful recipes for over 6.5 decades. They've got your belly covered, man, and they've got it covered with wholesome, delicious, high-quality foods that don't break the bank. An amazing selection of sandwiches. Look, sandwiches and subs always going to be the backbone of what Dandy does, despite the fact that they've had breakfast sliders, light lunchtime wraps, gourmet salads, all kinds of great items for on-the-go eating available to you. Some of these sandwiches out there right now include a hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that absolutely melts in your mouth, an all-white meat spicy buffalo chicken, but if that's a little too hot for you, how about the classic big old juicy 100% beef cheeseburger? All these served on fresh ciabatta bread, which is baked locally and delivered daily, as you'd expect from the folks that bring you fresh, never frozen goodness all over Duval. Dandy's a name to know for food on the go. So when you're hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
It's another Waste Management Wednesday in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
Dane Cook.
Nobody's browser history should be clear.
The Perfectly Shattered Tour.
You go to a girl browser, it should be like WebMD, Pinterest. Guy browser, clear.
Moran Theater, November 5th. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Attention car buyers, are you noticing markups on vehicles on dealer lots? Well, come to Key Buick GMC, where we never have markups on our vehicles. Ask for Derek or Brian, where we have fair value pricing, no additional markups, as well as the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. That's only at Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade across from Tinseltown on the corner of Southside and Gate, or go to our website, KeyBuickGMC.com.
Get your news and notes from the swamp.
Alligators ornery because they got all them teeth.
I'm Taylor Dahl, and I'll bring you the Gator Report to keep you connected to Gainesville.
Wow! Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
If you're often tired, have trouble exercising, or your heartbeat feels irregular, you might have atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Left untreated, AFib can put a strain on your heart and increase your risk of a stroke. But the new Heart Rhythm Center at Baptist Health can help. With the latest treatment options for heart disorders like AFib, our team of specialists can get you feeling stronger again. Learn more at baptistjacks.com/AFib or call 904-202-2342.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring salespeople right now. If you want to sell new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound and Security is looking for you. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring for sales positions, and they will train you to be successful. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. That's 762-1000. Hiring for sales positions right now. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. Equal opportunity employer.
At Rusty Acres, you don't just get a used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto part. You get someone who can explain how to install it. For a large inventory of used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto parts, call Rusty Acres, 786-1777.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Get heart-pounding asphalt round in NASCAR.
That two-car was all over the place.
Sunday at Kansas. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From Jacksonville's NASCAR station. 1010XL. All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Jaguars today
on 1010XL.
All right, coming down the stretch here, before we get to today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, we gave it to you in the form of a poll on Twitter. Let's take a tour around the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
The New York Jets are expected to sign wide receiver Randall Cobb to a one-year deal, which would reunite Cobb and Aaron Rodgers once again. The Buffalo Bills are signing nose tackle Poona Ford to a one-year deal. Tom Pelissero reported yesterday that Ford was offered more money outside of the Bills, but chose Buffalo because of their chances to win a Super Bowl this year. As expected, the Kansas City Chiefs are re-signing running back Jerick McKinnon. They've also declined the fifth-year option on running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Houston has claimed defensive back Tyree Gillespie on waivers. Gillespie was sent to waivers by the Jaguars on Monday. Free agent left tackle Taylor Lewan posted a video to social media yesterday saying that he is filing a lawsuit over knee surgery that he says has had negative ramifications on his career. The surgery was performed in 2020 to repair an ACL injury. An ex-Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs told a judge that he will admit that he drove drunk at speeds up to 156 miles per hour, causing a fiery crash that killed a woman. The plea deal could send the 24-year-old first-round NFL draft pick to state prison for 3 to 10 years. A six-month sentence for a guilty plea to misdemeanor manslaughter will be added to whatever sentence is determined for Ruggs. Ruggs' sentencing is scheduled for May 10th in state court in Las Vegas. Other charges will be dismissed, including felony reckless driving, driving under the influence causing substantial injury to Ruggs' girlfriend, and a misdemeanor gun charge. Police said they found a loaded handgun in Ruggs' demolished Chevrolet Corvette after the crash.
All right, thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. All right, let's get to the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. We gave you a poll today. If the Jacksonville Jaguars signed a veteran pass rusher this offseason, which one would you prefer? Gave you 4 choices. Let's give you our choice in the form of the 10-10 take.
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
You know, yesterday we did the poll. We got 851 votes, and it basically broke down 2/3, 1/3 in favor of pass rush being what people felt was the bigger concern area compared to coverage for this team. And I agreed, you agreed, and sometimes you feel like, oh, man, just, all right, 2/3 of people going that way. Way to take a bold stance and just agree with the majority. Well, let me tell you what, I'm here to stump for Justin Houston in today's poll, and he's getting less than 10% of the vote. Here, your options in this poll were Frank Clark at the age of 30. These are the ages they'll play the majority of this season under.
Yep.
Okay. Leonard Floyd be 30. Justin Houston be 34. Unique Ngakoue would be 28. Couple of things. Can I get playoff Frank Clark, first of all? I'll take that guy.
Take that guy, 100%.
Playoff Frank Clark has always produced, seemingly. I guess he didn't do much in 2021, but my man, in 2019, he had 5 postseason sacks in 3 games.
He's got the third most postseason sacks in NFL history.
13 and a half in the postseason, right? Yeah. But the regular season production, not so much. Frank Clark's the easiest one for me to eliminate from this, right? He's primarily been a 4-3 pass rusher, defensive end, however you want to look at it. I'm not personally sure how he fits in the 3-4. Even if he did, you look at his year-by-year production, his peak came several years ago, it appears, okay? Leonard Floyd has been very productive. He's been productive recently, in particular, the last 3 years, 9, 9.5, 10.5 sacks. Prior to that, 3, 4, 4.5, 7. Leonard Floyd has played every game he's played it as a starter. I think he wants the most money. My guess is he wants the most money out of this group. Sees himself as a starter. Again, that role's not a fit. If you lowered your expectations, maybe. But again, he's probably playing as many snaps as most of these guys, and he's still producing comparable to these guys. So I eliminated him. Jan, I get the appeal. I really do. If Unique Ngakoue thinks he's a full-time player at this stage, I mean, he's kidding himself. I think Jan, again, would go to the highest bidder and with no other concern, and maybe a lot of guys would. Doesn't give you anything against the run whatsoever, and he had been a problem in this locker room in the past. Could they put that behind him? Probably so. But to me, Justin Houston has shown you not only a willingness to come off the bench, but an ability to be productive off the bench. You talked about it, Tony. He played about 50% of the snaps for Baltimore last year and had 9.5 sacks. And it's not an anomaly, okay? In the last 6 years, 9.5, 9, 11, 8, 4.5. So he did fall off in 2021, but he bounced back with that 9.5 sack year. And I think he's the cheapest out of all these guys. Is he going to be 34? Yes, but I don't think any of these guys they're going to be signing for the long term. They sign any of them. I'd be surprised if it's more than a 1-year deal, maybe second-year team option kind of thing. So all the things collectively, and Justin Houston will give you more against the run than Jan will as well. Not that that's why you're signing him.
No. Yeah.
I think Justin Houston economically, productivity-wise, scheme fit, role that he's willing to accept, I think he checks pretty much every box for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Leonard Floyd eliminates himself from the conversation because he's going to want a bigger role than what the Jags can offer at this point. And
there's a good chance someone will give it to him.
I do too. Frank Clark, I think, is interesting because I do think he can stand up and play linebacker if he was asked to. I think he could do that successfully, but similar to Floyd, is he willing at this point in his career to come be the guy who's going to get 40 to 50% of defensive snaps for a team saying, go get 10, right? Like, is he ready for that role at this point in his career? I think Floyd and Clark, I'm not sure if they're ready to accept that. Unique Ngakoue, I think that's a fair question to ask too. Is he willing to accept that? Because he's been in places where he was the starter even the last couple of years. He's not going to be that here, right? Unique Ngakoue signs in Jacksonville. He's not putting Josh Allen or Trayvon Walker on the bench.
Right.
He's just not. So is he willing to come in as the third guy in that group? That means you're going to play a ton. You're going to get plenty of opportunities, but you're not going to have that kind of starter, whatever goes with that in players' heads.
Well, let's say Josh Allen misses a month.
Yeah.
And you need this guy that you're signing to start. They're going to run it right down his throat. Because that's what every team has done to Unique Ngakoue since he came in the league. It's why since he left Jacksonville, after 2019, he played for 2 different teams in 2020, a 3rd different team in 2021, a 4th different team in 2022.
Yeah.
He can come off the bench. He can get to the quarterback, and that's literally all he can do. But he'd be number 2 on my list.
If you could wave a magic wand and make any of these 4 guys accept what the Jags' role for them would be, I would want Floyd. Right? Like if I could just pick one and they would take the role for the Jags, right? I would pick Leonard Floyd. I'd probably have Frank Clark second on that list with Unique third and Justin Houston fourth. In my head, I think it's likely going to come down to, do they make a convincing pitch to Justin Houston to do what he's done in Baltimore for the last couple of years, now here in Jacksonville, Or do they have to go beyond even this list of 4 guys? And a guy like Melvin Ingram, I think, could very much be in play because he's had that role the last couple of years in the league, just like Justin Houston has, and he's been an effective pass rusher.
Yeah, we didn't include, obviously, we were limited to 4.
You only got 4, yeah.
And
these are the names that get mentioned all the time.
Get talked about the most. But there are other recognizable names still out there. By the way, Jan getting 47% of that vote, 27.5% for Frank Clark. Leonard Floyd, 17.6%, and only 7.7% agree with me. Mm-hmm. So your final tally be Justin Houston as well at the moment, based on everything we discussed. So we're in the vast minority on that one. But look, I'll be pretty pleased with any of them.
Get somebody
because I'm going to presume that you've explained what you envision their role being and that they're accepting of that role. But as things stand at this moment, I think Justin Houston checks the most boxes for me. So anyway, if you haven't voted, you can at MD_1010XL. Now let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping 1010XL talking with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, Mia O'Brien is here with us. Good morning, Mia.
Hello, what's going on?
I don't know if you've seen the Kyle Brandt quarterback rankings this morning.
Oh, we have.
On NFL Network. But how do you feel covering a guy who is listed as the 4th guy on the 6th tier in the AFC of quarterbacks behind Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo, and all the rest of that mess?
See, the funny part is I thought I covered that guy for the first 3.5 years, or I guess 2.5 years that I was here in Jacksonville. I didn't. I thought those days were behind us. Evidently, perhaps not. No, I mean, if you keep listening through the clip, obviously, a couple of the other folks on Good Morning Football make the case that Trevor Lawrence should at least be in the same tier as Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, Russell Wilson of 6 years ago. Okay, fine. Should we also rank Dan Marino currently ahead of Trevor Lawrence because he can still sling 48 touchdowns? I mean, it's honestly. It makes my head hurt that he thinks that this is at all justifiable. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I'm not the guy that gets mad about, they have the Jaguars 29th in the power rankings. Usually they deserve it. This is so clearly, like, incompetent on his part. It's shocking how bad it is.
We're obviously going to get into that on XL Primetime. But Leon Searcy, to kind of tease ahead to his side of this absurd clip from Good Morning Football, he just said to us, take us back to end of 2018, the end of the 2017 season, going into that 2018 season in the fall. Everyone was buying what the Jags were selling. And it was no question the Jags were a Super Bowl contender. Outside of the walls of Duval County, I'm not sure if other people around the country are thinking that. And so perhaps, as Leon alluded to, and we'll get into it, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we do want to continue to be doubted here in Duval County.
Yeah, I don't care if they, like that collectively, are they really a Super Bowl contender? You can debate that reasonably. Mm-hmm. There's no reason that can support what he put out there today, in my opinion. But whatever. You've got 3 hours to get into that and everything else. So what else are you going to be talking about?
Nothing wrong with being the underdog. Really excited to be joined by the co-OC of Penn State, Ty Growell. He obviously coached Brenton Strange, coached Parker Washington. So he's going to join us at 2:30 right here on XL Primetime. So obviously very excited to hear from him. I promise to not have too much Sean Clifford slander out there on the airwaves. Don't worry.
I can't wait.
It is worth noting, though. Correct me if listen, with all due respect to the guy, he's a warrior. He beat out Will Levis for the starting job year in and year out. But how much of the Penn State offense was affected by having a quarterback that wasn't C.J. Stroud or, quite frankly, wasn't Trevor Lawrence? And so we'll see, if that increases the ceiling for both those players.
All right, Mia, thank you. We'll be listening. 3 hours of XL Primetime coming your way next. That'll do it for us today. For Tony Smith, for E.T., Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for tuning in as we continue to recap the draft and look forward to what's still to come this Jaguars offseason. We'll be back with you tomorrow from 10 to noon right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Go Jacksonville!
It's a Waste Management Wednesday on Jaguars Today.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jackson